Welcome to today's Career Lab. What do employers want? Brought to you by Mohr Career Services from the Lundquist College of Business. So today we'll talk about what do employers want, what does it take to be career ready, and developing an action plan. So when we're looking at what employers want, now clearly for each specific job, people are going to want a certain type of skill. For instance, for one job, they might want Python. For something else, they might want another, what we'd call a hard skill. But what we're talking about now are the skills that universally employers tend to want, those soft skills, those foundational skills. And here's what we have. Now, note that this information comes from this list of core competencies was developed by the National Association of Colleges and Employers. And when we've gone around and talked to employers at career fairs, this has been kind of borne out. So this is a list that we are working with. So take a minute and take a look at it. Critical thinking, teamwork, leadership, career management, communication, digital technology, professionalism, and global and intercultural fluency. Now, this is important. Think about how the experience you gain while you're at the U of O can help you build these skills. You need to start keeping track of that because these things are very important to think about and to be able to communicate to a prospective employer. So I don't have the luxury of giving you a handout, so I've broken it into two pieces here on the screen. So I'm going to leave this up for a second, and obviously you can always come back to it, read through what these competencies are defined as. That's the first half, and the second half of the sheet, and I apologize for the cutoff. On the top right, it says digital technology. So again, this is just an explanation of what these things actually mean. I think one that's very important to note is career management. That's something that we don't think about that often, so I'm actually going to read that one out loud. Identify and articulate personal skills, strengths, knowledge, and experiences relevant to the position, desired, and career goals, and identify areas necessary for professional growth. Candidates need to be able to navigate and explore job options, understand and take the steps necessary to pursue opportunities, and understand how to self-advocate for opportunities in the workplace. And the reason I read that out loud is often students think the career management piece is just about when you're in school and you're looking for that first job. No, career management is one of those skills that you do want to keep building and keep paying attention to throughout the life cycle of your entire career. So you're always going to be trying to up your game, continue to build professional skills, etc. All right, so now we're going to do a quick activity called Name That Competency. And obviously you can go back in the video and take a look at what the competencies are. So I've written a couple of bullet points, and we're going to talk about what those could be pointing to in terms of competency. First one. Led tours for diverse groups as a UO Duck Guide, fielding questions from parents and prospective students from different regions and cultures. Okay, what heading does that fit under? So there's a number of them. Obviously, one of them would be potentially global and intercultural fluency, because we're talking about diverse groups, parents and prospective students from different regions and cultures. So that kind of intercultural fluency piece is represented there. But that's not the only one. We could also be talking about oral communication, because that's part of what you do as a duck guide, is you're talking to people all the time. Also, you're leading tours. There could be an element of leadership involved there. So remember, not each thing fits into one tidy box, but that's actually good for you because you can use your different experiences to prove that you have a number of different competencies. Next competency. Next bullet point. Managed workflow in a busy restaurant by coordinating order distribution to multiple servers in a timely manner. And I wrote this one specifically because I think it's really important. A lot of students come to me and they say, oh, I just worked in a restaurant. Well, frankly, I've worked in a restaurant, and there is no just working in a restaurant. Any single job that we do, regardless of where it was, takes underlying skills. Look at this bullet point. Look at all the things that the person who did this would have had to do. And I've been in this situation myself. So for this one, there, again, a number of competencies we're hitting here. Teamwork and collaboration, right? Because you're probably working with a team in a busy restaurant. Also, leadership potentially, because you have to be able to figure out who gets what when and making sure all those orders get out. But you could also have critical thinking and problem solving. Because if you have ever worked in a restaurant or anything that's fast paced, there is a certain amount of decision making and on the fly problem solving that's involved. So again, all of your experience is valuable. You just need to figure out how to talk about it in a way that helps to surface those competencies. Okay, last one we're going to do right now. Mediated numerous roommate disputes as a residential advisor, employing active listening and conflict de-escalation techniques to guide students to resolve their differences. So frankly, these are all bullet points. These are accomplishment statements. These are not just a job description. So again, these types of things are things you want to think about because this is how you prove you have competencies on your resume. You look at your past experience and you figure out how you want to talk about it in a way that helps people to understand what it is that you did and what it is that you accomplished. How did you contribute? Okay, so what competency does this hit? Well, a number of them. Again, we could talk about communication for sure. I mean, obviously the person there is talking about active listening. And then we're also looking at conflict de-escalation techniques. Again, that can be communication. It could be things like problem solving. Also, frankly, a residential advisor often provides leadership. And in this kind of scenario, they are leading students to resolve their differences. So there's a number of things that are hit there. So that's really what I want you to take away from this, is that all the things that you do show those competencies. You just need to be strategic in the way that you talk about it. Okay, and the other piece of this is skills self-assessment. This is a really important thing. It's a critical piece of professional development. Remember that your skills are constantly evolving, whether it's in the classroom and things that you learn, part-time jobs that you have, volunteer work, clubs, etc. And even after you graduate and get a job, these things are still going to be evolving. It's very important to be aware of what skills you are using, what skills are very strong for you, and what things you might want to beef up a little bit. And then you need to be able to identify those gaps. Are there some skills that you want to build, and how could you go about that? So we're going to look at the skills gap analysis. We're going to review the next two slides, and then I want you to choose two competencies you're pretty confident about. Jot down some ideas, whether you make notes in an Excel spreadsheet or on a Word or Pages document, about what you have to offer for those two competencies that you feel are pretty solid for you. Then choose two competencies that you think you might need some work on, and think about how could you gain more skills. All right, so here is a competency gap analysis sheet. So up at the top, we have what do employers want? What do I have to offer? How can I prove it? And how can I further develop this competency? So choose two, and again, we have two screens here, two that you're strong in, write down what you have to offer. And then later, choose two that you're not so strong in and figure out how you can further develop that competency. Here's slide 1 and slide 2. Now, remember, you can easily make a chart like this of your own. You can create a spreadsheet in Excel or use the table feature in Word. You can also just use a piece of paper. But what's important here is that you hold yourself accountable for this. So you actually do this work, because without doing it, you can't move yourself forward. And it's also a good reminder of the skills that you already do have. To make sure that you write those down and start to think about stories that you could talk about, some instances you could talk about, because those are the foundational building blocks of a good, solid interview. And also should be bullet points on your resume. And as far as things that you want to build, great. We all want to keep building our skills, and that will help give you some direction as you figure out how you're going to continue to move forward. Key takeaways here. Although industries and job functions vary, there are key skills that most employers are looking for. Your college years are a great time to become aware of these skills and continue to build on them. You're doing this anyway. I just want you to start noticing it and capturing it on things like your resume. Mohr Career Services, your courses, clubs, and activities offer many opportunities to expand your skills and help you to become career ready, which is what employers are looking for. And now that you know what employers are looking for, you can be intentional about how you spend your time and make sure you're always building your skills. For further support, for career advising, you can come to a virtual drop-in Monday through Thursday from 1 to 3 p.m., and there's the link, or you can make an appointment through Handshake with a professional advisor. For career resources, including recorded career labs like this one, check Handshake, and especially check our career search tips during COVID-19 page. That lists a lot of different resources that are especially timely now and links you directly to some video. For live career labs and other upcoming events, check Handshake. Thank you so much for joining me. That's all I have for you today, and I'll see you next time in the Career Lab.